Alright, so today we're going to start tearing into the RX-7 and see what actually went wrong with it. I mean, I know what actually went wrong with it. It blew the heck out of the turbo. I don't know how well you guys can hear that, but it is very unhappy. So, we're pulling the turbo off, going to inspect that a little bit. I don't really think this one's worth rebuilding because it's just a $260 turbo from eBay. $270 now, the price has gone up a little bit. So yeah, I don't think it's worth rebuilding. We're going to make a whole new turbo kit for this thing. I am going to save this turbo kit because I'm probably going to use it for something in the future, I'm sure. But yeah, we are pulling this thing off, so I don't think there's any reason to beat around the bush. Let's just start pulling it apart and see what we find. Oh man, you guys can see it real good on this side. Check this out. I don't know how well you guys are going to be able to see that actually. There you go, you can kind of see it now. That's all just where it's like been machining itself. Yeah, this thing's probably just gonna be wall art. Gonna grab my fitting and everything off of it, and then we'll just put it on the wall. So now that we've kind of assessed the damage with that, I think we could pull off the turbo kit. We don't have to right now, but it's gonna have to come off at some point anyway. All right, it is days later, and it turns out that I am a big stinky liar about the car just being out of commission for the rest of the year. Did a little bit of snooping around and found a few pretty good deals. I still don't know if I'm gonna get the car done in time for the rest of the season, but we are still going to be working on the car here and there. So just as a refresher, here is the turbo that we pulled out of the car. You'll remember that. And this is the turbo that I ended up finding for it. Significantly bigger. Should be a whole lot happier because this turbo was basically maxed out. Like that thing at like 21, 22 pounds of boost, the car was only making roughly 600, 630 horsepower at the tires. So this thing should be a whole lot happier. I'm hoping to make the same power on like 15, 16 pounds of boost, but you know, it could be better, could be a lot worse than that, who knows. I do know that this will flow a whole lot better. So this is a VS Racing 85 that I found for 500 bucks. It was on Marketplace, right place, right time. The dude pulled it out of his car because he decided to go twin turbos, and his loss, my gain. So I picked up this flange for it for an exhaust. I just robbed the oil feed off of this turbo. This is just a 3-inch V-band to T6 flange here, and to mount it, I actually kind of splurged on that, but we'll get into all that in a minute. But overall, I think this thing will be real happy on the car. It feels really good. So along with that, I picked up a few other things to start just redoing some of the stuff on the turbo kit, including a bunch of 2.5-inch stainless. Here's all the bends and some straight sections. I know for sure I'm not going to be using all this, but it wasn't too bad. It was $160 for all of this. And then the turbo did come with a blanket that I'll definitely be needing. 4-inch aluminum from Motion for the intake, and just a bunch of other little odds and ends. That's the catch can that I had on it, because I'll probably end up having to move the catch can. But I've got a rough idea on where I want the turbo to sit, because obviously it's been a few days. I've been kind of playing around with different ideas. And then because I figured I'm redoing a bunch of stuff on the car, I might as well try to do it better than it was. Not really as good as I can, because as good as I can isn't that great, but just trying to do things a little bit better here and there. I ended up ditching the cast manifolds, just the truck manifolds, which I have nothing against. I think they work great, they fit phenomenally, and you can still make a ton of power with them. But these are LS swap headers for, I think, like a Chevelle or a Camaro or something like that. But they were like $82 for the set from eBay. They are pretty darn decent quality. I'm going to cut these off and weld some V-bands on it. This one, because this will be, obviously they're going down and forward. This will be the passenger side. This will be the driver's side. This is the one that I might have to get a little weird with, because the steering box is probably going to want to sit like right in where this header is. So we'll test fit it first. We'll probably start with this side first, because this one should fit pretty well. And then we'll get to this side, and I got a feeling I'm just going to hack this tube off and see if I can just reroute the tube, you know, have welder will party. Biggest problem to me with these first gen RX-7s is steering is really stupid. I would love to go to a rack and pinion, because you've got this big box here. I'd love to go to a rack and pinion, but it's just not in the cards at this moment. And the front suspension, there's so few options for anything like drag race related. There's a lot of stuff more stance oriented and more kind of road course oriented. I did send a few emails to a few different places trying to see if we could figure out something, but and I know someone's going to comment about the meticulous videos. I've talked to Hayden a few times. This was actually before he even finished his setup. We've talked about a few different things. I know he switched to like a Mustang spindle and modified the control arm and fit a Fox body strut and stuff on it. I don't really want to go that route just yet, because I already paid for the aerospace brakes, so I'd like to keep those and the stock spindle and just figure out something for a strut. So the car's working right now. It works okay for what it is, but I have no control over the suspension at all. The stock spring rate seems to be good, but like I said, I have no control over the strut. The thing, if you watch some of the videos, it comes up super quick. And I think if I could slow that down a little bit, it would help the car. But that's not a huge priority right now. That's something that I want to keep thinking about, weighing different options and looking at different things. I've got a few ideas on how I want to do it. But anyway, we're going to test fit these headers. We'll mock this one up real quick, because I think this one should fit just fine over here. That should be, oh yeah, that'll work perfect, like it was made for it almost. So that's pretty sick. Like I said, I think the other side is going to be the real pain in the ass. I'm going to put a couple bolts in this so we can see what it's really going to look like. Yeah, that looks like it'll fit perfect, actually. Clears everything just fine, just like it's supposed to. I'm going to pull this out and drill and tap it and put actual plugs there, just because the turbo is going to be right in here. Try and get it a little bit lower. I wish I could fit it back here to move some weight off the nose, but it's just not in the cards. So yeah, passenger side fits perfect. Looks like all the plug wires will work out great too, because I still have the plugs in here so I can see. These are just some stockers, but that one works. This one could work. That one will be fine, and that one will obviously be fine. I did order some 45-degree end ones, so the two in the middle where it would touch the header there, those shouldn't be a problem anymore. And then this side, where there's the cluster, you can kind of see, hopefully, it is just sitting on that steering box right now. It's right where that back tube wants to land, so that sucks. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to cut that tube. Not the end of the world, but man, if it wasn't there, that thing would fit, again, perfect. Oh well. I might be able to redo this return line a little bit, reroute it, and if I cut this tube, I can probably bring it out and around that steering box. It's kind of what I'm hoping. So yeah, I think I'll cut this right here and probably right in here first, and fit it back up and see, because if I can bring this out and then around like that, I mean, not maybe that dramatic, I don't know, but if I can do that and then bring it back in here, it would work great. We'll see. I'm gonna get this thing cut and then we'll fit it back up and see how it does. Might cut the ends off real quick too, so I don't have to listen to that freaking rattling. Jesus Christ. Dent this in just a touch. All right, so honestly, that's turning out way better than I thought it would have. So I was worried that I'd have to bring this pipe way around here, like on this side of the steering box and then back in. But it looks like I'll be able to get a couple 90s and run that straight down and then this way and go kind of on the inside between the motor and the steering box. So that should work out absolutely perfect. It's not sitting flush against the block because it's hitting the motor mount right there, which I'm going to change those pretty soon anyway. I'm going to pull the motor out because I want to put a different oil pan on it so that I can fix the steering link. Because if you guys remember, this steering link that you might not be able to see is kind of wonky. So I'm going to redo that. It'll give me a little bit more ground clearance so that if the front end ever does come down, it doesn't rip the steering out. I'm going to try to fix that at least. So I got a different oil pan while the engine's out. I'm going to redo the motor mount because right now those are just some small block Chevy like clamshells and then ICT billet adapters. I'm going to pull all that out of it and get actual plates that bolt to the motor and then ears that I'm going to weld onto the car. But yeah, it looks like it'll work perfect. I need to cut the flange off that. It's going to come down great. Honestly, in the future, if I ever am able to switch to a steering like a rack and pinion, there's plenty of room for the steering shaft to go under there. It's great because the rack and pinion will be right here anyway, so steering shaft will be all through here. This is looking great, man. And then I just need to get the turbo actually mounted in place. To do that, I got a little bougie with it, you know, sold a few parts off that Silverado SS. Felt like trying to get a little fancy boy with it, and I got this Maven turbo mount. The drain goes through it, bolts to the bottom of the turbo. You'll weld this to a bar that goes to the frame, and turbo can stay there, and the whole turbo kit can come off. Kind of unnecessary, but like I said, sold a few parts, felt like getting a little bougie with it. And if I ever have to service the turbo kit, like there's any cracks or anything, then the turbo will be able to stay there and I'll be able to pull parts off independently. It makes it a little bit easier, and hopefully it should help prevent cracks because there won't be weight like resting on the turbo system. So I think before we end the video, I'm going to show you how the turbo is going to sit, and then we'll probably wrap things up. So I'm going to go steal the engine hoist to help hold it, just because it's heavy and awkward. But it's looking like things are going to be pretty good. I'm excited. All right, so right here is about where this thing's going to live. It's one of the better fitting spots. Like I said, if I felt like moving the radiator and everything, I could get it down lower and it'd be all right. But I didn't want it at the very front of the car. The car's already pretty nose heavy. You can see one of the reasons I want to get rid of this and put the plugs in. There's going to be a lot of heat here, which is, I mean, it was fine. There was already a ton of heat here. My wastegate was literally right there, so it'd probably survive. But I've got, I think I've got everything laying around. I know I've got the taps. I've got the plugs for this. I might have a plug for that, so if it'll be free, why not do it? I'll probably get a thermostat housing that goes straight that way and get rid of this, free up a little bit of space to the turbo there. There's going to be a little bit more gap than that. It'll be about like that, but I can still move it over a little bit. The oil line's going to fit perfect, so that's good. The turbo drain looks like it'll all be downhill, so that's good. I'm not sure where I want to run the dump pipe. If I want to try and make it back through here and come out this hole, I'll have to open it up. Or if I want to kick it out down here, I'll probably, I don't know. I'll play around with some different ideas when I get to that point. I would like to come through here just because I already have this hole here, but I think it'd be much easier to kick it out in the front there. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah, I think the most difficult part here is going to, I'm probably going to have to pie cut the heck out of, because the V-band will be right here. Then I have to go like immediately down into the inside and then come right back around. So I think that part's going to be kind of a pain in the butt, but I think I can do it. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. If you want to help out, because this stuff's not cheap, merch is first link in the video description below. I appreciate all of that. The money goes straight into these cars, like the stretched S10, Jack Black, James Brown here, the Monte Carlo. All that money goes straight into the cars for the channel, so I definitely appreciate you guys checking that out. And I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for subscribing and clicking that bell. And we'll see you in the next one. Later.